All right. Tyshawn. So Tyshawn Warren, you are, hold on. Streamer says, we're having trouble streaming to your destination. Is it possible? Oh, okay. It looks like it's not streaming to, Instagram right now, but we'll just have to kick Instagram out of here. 1 second. I'm going to send myself a message so I can see it here to make sure that we are live. Yeah, okay, so we're live here now. Just checking. Looks like we're not live on Instagram, and that's okay. We forgive Instagram for their botched attempt. Let me get off that. All right, so Mr. Tyshawn Warren. Am I pronouncing your name right? Your last name's easy. Tyshawn?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, all right. I was just talking to somebody on our team, a salespeople that we train that for one of our accounts, and he was actually in a city that I have a lake home about an hour north of here. This last weekend, I was like, dude, I can't believe you're at the lake. Like, why didn't you stop by? We were at the lake house. And he's like, oh, we were over in this town called Osage Beach. I'm like, Osage Beach? You mean Osage Beach? Oh, I thought it was a soggy beach. Like, no, dude, it's not a soggy beach. It's Osage Beach.
Yeah.
Sometimes, we're just bad at pronouncing names and everything. So listen, I appreciate you being on here. Now, this is going to be an interesting conversation, because if you're brand new to our Facebook group, Sales Revolution, first of all, welcome to the Facebook to Sales Revolution. But every single week we go live with at least one, sometimes we'll do two if I have more time, of our clients, whether it's a company that we train or an individual salesperson that we train like Tyshawn, that's in our Advanced Inner Circle program. And we go live with them and talk about how they're just crushing it in sales, like how they're actually selling so much, and how that happened using NEPQ sales training courses, okay? So a lot of times people are like, man, how do these people do this? Like, it's unreal. Like, Tyshawn makes 25 grand a month. There's no way I can do that. Like, nobody in my industry's ever done that. Well, because you haven't learned the right skills yet, right? Yeah. So a lot of people in his industry never do that either until they learn the right skills. So we're going to get into that. Tyshawn, now you're coming live from where? You live down in Texas, right?
Right, I live in San Antonio, Texas.
San Antonio, Texas. Probably getting hot down there by this time of the year.
Super
All right, my man, the young guy. And you're like 27 or 28?
Yep, only 27, man. Not as old as you.
Not as old as me, right? So I know. So once I got in my 40s, I turned 40 a couple years ago, people started calling me Uncle Jay. I'm like, dude, I'm just like 40 years old. Like I just turned 44, but I'm like, I'm not Uncle Jay. Like, you're thinking like Uncle G, who's Grant Cardone.
Yeah.
He's like 65. Like, you can call me uncle when I'm in my 60s, but my 40s, I don't know. Well, I guess I could be an uncle, but you know what I mean by that.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is going to be interesting because we're going to go over your story, and we're going to go over certain things that we taught you in the Advanced Inner Circle about how to prevent objections from even happening in your prospect's mind. Like, when you learn that shift, besides everything else we teach you in the Advanced Inner Circle, like what that did for your sales and your income and the people you're able to help. Right. Now, if anybody on here is like brand new to our Facebook group, so we always have brand new, we have probably 40 to 50 people, new people that join every single day at this point. That's trending up to 100 a day. I'm the founder and chairman of Seventh Level, and we're an organization that helps sales professionals exactly like you. So we help sales professionals like you watching. We help coaches. We help sales executives and leaders and business owners transform the way you and your team sell by learning how to use human behavior to your advantage in your sales process. What does that mean? Learning specific skilled questions that work with human behavior rather than against it. That's a big key. We're going to talk about that. Those are called neuro-emotional persuasion questions. That stands for NEPQ. If you hear us talk about NEPQ, that's what we mean. Now, we have to teach you the right tonality that takes the sales pressure out of your conversations, put your prospects at ease, because you don't want them to have anxiety, and get your prospects to open up, to want to engage with you and actually persuade themselves and pull you in rather than you trying to push, which we know just creates more resistance. Now, along the way, if you want to learn about how we can help you sell a lot more of your products and services, like we have for thousands of our clients at this point. Hell, we have about 3 to 5 new testimonials that post every day in our Facebook group here. Every single day. We have about 5 different Facebook groups. We have about 5 every single day. That's about 140 new ones every single month. And we're up to almost 3,000 testimonials in the last 2 years. So it's getting exciting at this point. So we want you to be in that group as well, like Tyshawn. So if you want more details about how we can help you sell a lot more of your products or services, in the comment section, just post hashtag NEPQ, hashtag NEPQ, and either myself or some of my team will send you more details about how we can possibly help you as well. Now, if you're on the live right now, I want you to post hashtag live. So if you're on the live right now, post hashtag live. And if you're on the replay, I want you to post hashtag replay. So if you're on the live, post hashtag live. If you're on the replay, hashtag replay in the comment section. And also, I want each of you on right now, I want you to smash the heart button. So I want you to smash the heart button several times, and I want each of you to smash the like button. So go ahead and smash the heart button, smash the like button. The reason why we have you do that is because it generates more engagement in this Facebook group, and we're able to reach more people in the Facebook group so they can learn from Tyshawn and myself how to sell more of their products and their services well. All right, Tyshawn, with that out of the way, let's get to you the good stuff. All right, so I love bringing people on here. Every week, like I said, we interview 1 to 2 clients every single week, week after week after week, since we've started this Facebook group 7 months ago. So we've interviewed, I don't know, at least 40 or 50 of you so far. So there's like a waiting list. People are like, man, can I get on the show? What are you making? No, you got to make this amount before we get you on the show. Or you better get in the training a little bit more. So Tyshawn, what I like about you is you haven't been here that long. Okay, right. You got into Advanced Inner Circle, what was it, 5 months ago, 4 months ago? Something like that. Okay. But and now you're up to almost 25,000 a month in commissions. Okay.
I'm almost up to 30 this month.
Oh, you're almost to 30. Okay. I know you're averaging like 23, 25 a month, but now you're almost up to 30. And that just comes with more advanced training from the Inner Circle. Like every month, your income should be going up, up, and up and up, right? Until you probably, with what you sell, we can get you up to 50 grand a month if you want that. More money for you to invest. Now, let's talk a little bit about this though, because a lot of people on here might think you're like some type of superhuman, or like you're some Superman guy from the planet of Kajabi or whatever. I don't know. But let's start back when you first got into selling. I mean, you're only 27, 28. So it's not like we're talking about you've been selling for 2 decades. So tell us about how you got involved in selling. What was one of your first sales jobs that you started?
I actually started selling probably around like 3.5 years ago. And I was not a salesperson. I actually used to be an IT consultant. So I was a person sitting in the back, like doing nothing, not interacting with people. So I was like the worst person you could have as a salesperson. And so I started my own agency. And I'm not sure if you know this, but actually, and the first sales training I ever got was your like 8-week academy that you came up with like 3 years ago.
Oh, the basic product when we were launched. Yeah, and you told me that right before, and I'm like, dude, I had no idea. I didn't. I mean, we had like hundreds of people buy that. I mean, thousands of people buy that product when we first launched the company 3 years ago. That was just the basic course. Yeah. So you got the basic course. Did you do anything with it?
Yeah. So I started going through it, and I tried to test it out, and then like everybody else, I got shiny object. Like it was the first, I didn't know what I had. I took it for granted. And I was like, I didn't know this was good. So like I started like trying to piece everything together, convolute stuff. And then I went from agency to high ticket sales. And then like, I just like the way I was selling didn't feel right, especially with people that are like high level.
Yeah. What do you mean? What do you mean by that? The way you were taught how to sell. Now, how were you taught how to sell by these companies you started working for?
Well, I still like I got a whole bunch of sales training, and a lot of it, especially in the high ticket space, teaches like the authority frame where like you want to make sure that you're the good fit for us and all this like nonsense. Especially that definitely didn't work with people that are like at a higher levels. If they're doing like $100,000 a month, like you could just tell like the conversation just went downhill as soon as the conversation started.
Yeah, because you tell everybody what you sell now.
Right now I sell real estate investment coaching. So
you sell real estate investment education, and some of the people that are leads, these are high net worth investors already. They're not like little, like I hope I can make a few bucks. Like these people are already making a lot of money in real estate, and they're just looking to even scale that further. So when you try the old high ticket coaching stuff, like, this is going to be a good fit for us and a fit for you,
Right.
What usually happens with most of those type of people?
It's like instant resistance. And
Yeah.
there's like, yeah, just some of the price, man, like just like Audi, I do this stuff. And so like those people, then especially even like people that didn't have businesses yet, like if they were like really A type,
Yeah.
like it would turn them off immediately.
Well, yeah, and a lot of that is taught, I'm not going to name any names, but a lot of that sales training comes from like about 3 or 4 different sales trainers that made money, 10 years ago in the space, but the space is a lot different, right? It's
Right.
People have changed, like the consumers change all the time. And when you try to put like posture people and say, oh, this is a good fit for us and a fit for you, like nobody believes that. Like
Right.
what they're going to, like, if they're like, oh, you're not a good fit for us, so we're just going to turn down your money. Yeah, right. They're not,
Right.
They don't think that you're going to come back and say, I don't think you're a good fit for us. We don't want your money. You're going to have to go do something else. Nobody
Right.
believes that.
Yep.
So when you say things like that, and I know obviously we trained you not to do that and like how to do that. When you say things like that, it instantly triggers resistance and they automatically do not trust you. And that's an uphill battle you have to face as a salesperson the rest of that sales call or the follow-up call. They just don't trust you the whole time because it was triggered initially by this so-called frame that you've been taught somehow works, even though it doesn't.
Yep.
Okay. So you started learning those old school sales techniques. What type of results did you get using those?
I did okay, but like so I was doing between like maybe like 5 to 8K up and down. And like what happened was like there's days when I would just be like so emotionally drained. I just didn't feel like selling like the next day. Like again, I hope people no show because I don't feel like dealing with this. and then even like the objection handle, like I couldn't objection handle because like we get to the end of the call and I've kind of like boxed them in. So like there's nowhere to go like after that. And if they're like no, I can't handle correctly.
Yeah. And so, Tyshawn said a very important thing because a lot of times when we start training, clients in our advanced inner circle and advanced NEPQ 3.0, a lot of them say the same thing. Like, I feel mentally drained. Even, I've had clients that made 20 grand a month in commissions that come to me like, I feel mentally drained. I'm in a boxing match every day with prospects, trying to win them over, manipulate them to buy, and they just wear out. And eventually you want to get out of it. It's like whenever you're saying like, I was hoping clients would no-show. Yeah, that's definitely a sign that the way we're taught to sell is triggering us to feel uncomfortable. And if it's triggering us to feel uncomfortable, what the hell do you think is going on in the prospect's mind? Yep. It's making them feel really, really uncomfortable, right? And we wonder why we get so many resistance and objections, but it's triggered by the way we're speaking, the way we're communicating with our prospects. So, okay, so you're making 5-6 grand a month. You're doing okay. I mean, hell, you're 25, 26, 5-6 grand a month. You might as well be Donald Trump. You think you go buy Trump Towers or something. Yeah. You're a billionaire in your mind at that age. So what caused you to be like, man, I'm here, but I need to learn more advanced skills? Like what happened in your brain where you're like, man, I'm tired of selling this way. Like I need to learn how to sell a lot better.
Well, the funny thing is since I got your training so long ago, like as I was going through all these other trainings, like I was like, this doesn't make a lot of sense. Like what Jeremy taught, but I was like, well, let me try to go back to it. And then like a year ago, like I was like, I need to like exponentially increase my income. And I know Jeremy can help me do that. So I went and like re-enrolled into like NEPQ like 2.0.
You got into our 2.0 training. Yeah. Okay. Right. So, yeah, 3 years ago when we first launched, you got a very, very basic course. I did that with Brian Tracy. He recorded a little bit of stuff and I did like probably 95% of it when we launched. That's just basic training. Then you got our NEPQ 2.0 training portal. That's the 11-hour sales training course with all the bonuses. Okay, so you got into that. You didn't really, it's just the portal. But what type of results did you get just from that training?
Well, because like before, I was kind of using what you teach, but like adding on stuff that didn't make sense. Like I was like, let me just go 100% NEPQ. Okay. Yeah. And like from there, like my conversation time went from like an hour and a half, like hour to hour and a half to like 45 minutes.
Okay. So you better.
And then I increased my income to like, like 10, 11K. And I was like, well, like I want to exponentially increase. So let's just join Inner Circle. And so like from there,
you doubled your sales from the 2.0. I mean, that's not bad going from 5 or 6.
Within like a month and a half.
Yeah. I mean, and you will automatically 10 to 11 grand, 12 grand. But what caused you so even when you started using just the NEPQ 2.0 training, when you doubled your sales and doubled your income within a month and a half, How are prospects like, what was changing them? How did they start reacting to you compared to using the old traditional selling stuff?
People were a lot more open to, especially telling me their problems.
Yeah.
Because like now it's not like a conversation where I'm actually trying to help them versus trying to box them in to sell them something. So like before it was like very surface level, and I knew it was surface level, and I would try to like dig deeper, but I was like, this is gonna create more resistance than I already have. And so like now I can actually like I could actually dig deeper, and they would be open to like telling me. Like,
and they
I
want
can
you.
help.
They want
Right.
you to dig deeper, right? So then you doubled your income from NEPQ 2.0. What caused you to be like, you know what, 10, 12 grand a month in commissions is good, but I want to double that? Like, what caused you to then like reach out to us and like, hey, I want to get in your advanced inner circle program with you?
It's because I started seeing like higher level people, especially like like Matt and Marco. Like I'm like they're doing like 100K a month in this industry,
Yeah.
and like what am I doing? So
What
I
am
need
I
to
doing
step up.
differently?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like I was like I just immediately made the jump like to inner circle so I could exponentially increase my income,
Yeah.
like provide more for myself and my family.
Yeah. So what's a difference between even like NEPQ 2.0 and inner circle in your mind? Like what caused you to be able to go from 10 to 5 to 6 grand a month with old school selling techniques, trigger and resistance? 2.0, NEPQ 2.0, you're doubled that, you get up to 10, 12 grand a month. And now you're more than doubled that consistently every month. What's been the biggest thing that has changed in what we've trained you in the advanced programs compared to what you were doing before?
I think there's like three things. Like one is like I had like the script like from NEPQ, but like now it's like a lot more tailored and it gets tailored like every day.
Yeah.
Two, like and the biggest thing for me is like been interruptions, like interrupting people and like kind of slowing because you can see I already speak fast.
Tell us about that, because a lot of people are like, never interrupt somebody, just let them talk. But what happens when you just let people go off on tangents?
It just becomes that part of the conversation just becomes pointless. Yeah. And like, especially if you're digging into a problem, they start going on a tangent, talking about like their history of 20 years. Like then they're not in their problems anymore. And like, so you get to the end of the call and they don't feel like they have a problem anymore.
Yeah. There's no
so it doesn't serve
urgency
either of us. Yeah.
So one thing that we have to understand is when we say interrupt somebody, you're not doing it aggressively mean. You're not like cutting them off and saying, oh yeah, well that happened to me. Let me tell you about me. Or, oh yeah, that happened to me. And here's how we solve that. We have this greatest solution, and we start focusing on us. When we interrupt, it's because we're trying to redirect the conversation, but we're focused on them when we interrupt. We can just jump in and say, John, I apologize. And I'm going to come back to that in a second. But when you said that it's causing you stress, what did you mean by that? And right again, I'm focused back on them. And when we interrupt people like that, when there's a split-second pause, and then you focus back on them, what do?
They open up even more. And
they open up even more.
Yeah.
Did they ever come back and say, well, damn it, you interrupted me, son. I was telling you about my 27-year history. They never do that, dude.
Yeah. Because like you're asking about them.
When we interrupt somebody and ask further clarification about what they were saying, so you nail it down and then move on to your problem awareness questions or your situation questions or solution awareness questions, wherever you're at in the NEPQ process, people just open up more. And when you ask those questions and then you clarify and probe off their answers, psychologically, what is going on in that person's mind?
They're already positioning you as the expert.
Yes.
That you can help them.
Questions make you appear that you are an expert and you know what you're doing, and you're going to get them the results that they want. When you just talk about how good your solution is and how you're the best at this and you're the best at that, and you talk down your competitors, it makes you look like what?
Makes you look inferior, like you can't provide them.
It makes you look like just another salesperson who's trying to stuff your solution down their throat, and then they commoditize you and put you over here in the corner with all the other salespeople that are like that, which is 99% of salespeople.
Right.
But when you ask the right questions at the right time, with the right pausing that we teach you in our advanced inner circle program, the right, let's say, tonality, okay, it causes people to think deeply about the questions you're asking, not just asking surface level questions. Like if I'm looking for a pair of jeans and I walk into, let's say, American Eagle, and I really want a pair of jeans, and the salesperson comes over and says, how can I help you? I'm just looking.
Yeah,
because that's a knee-jerk question, surface level question that requires a knee-jerk answer and response. Okay. So we have to learn how to ask the right questions, but learn how to go under the surface. So you started learning how to ask those questions. And what did your prospects start doing besides just wanting to engage?
They just started opening up like a lot faster. Like, so I said NPK to like 2.0. I went from like an hour and a half to like 45 minutes. Like now I'm at the point where I'm between like 25 and 35 minutes. And it's not like I sell like $100 product. Like it's between $8,000 to $13,000.
Yeah,
and
it's more high end for your industry. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we go from like 25, 30 minutes. They open up like really fast. And they're like, okay, cool. You can help me. Let's get rolling.
Yeah. And it's not like a $500 product. And, we have some clients in B2B space that sell, $100 million products.
Right.
And there's more of a, it's more than a 1 or 2 call close. It might be a 3-month sales cycle of smaller commitments that lead to the larger commitment to purchase their products or services. But, to hone down an hour and a half call that you were at, making each call an hour and a half, each sales call an hour and a half, and you're making $5,000 a month, but then honing it down to 35 minutes and you're making $25,000 a month. What does that give you more opportunity for?
Just to spend my life. Because like right now, especially 35 minutes, and I probably take like 20 calls a week. So I work like maybe like 25 hours a week.
Yeah, exactly. And you were telling me like, man, I need to book more calls. Like I need to get more in the company, because just by, let's say if you went from 25 hours a week to 40 hours a week, just right there, you're probably already at 38 to 40 grand a month in commissions, taking more calls. You see how that works? 100%. All right. So let's, I always put people on the spot. I love to put people on the spots. What's one of the biggest objections that your prospects give you?
It's usually, I guess, money.
Okay. And what do they usually say? Tell me what they would say. You get to the end, you go through your presentation, everything seems fine and hunky and dory. And what do they say?
Well, the funny thing is it's an objection, but like before it's objection, like, oh, that's just too much money. Like now the objection is more of like, this sounds like this is what I need. I just don't have the funds.
Now, there's a big difference in that objection, right? Because if you're getting objections that says this is too expensive, this is too much money, what does that mean? That means you don't know how to ask the right questions that are building urgency in their mind for them to see, here's what their current situation is. Some people call that the current state. Here's where they are now. Here's their future state. Here's where they want to be, their objective state. What's this big gap in between? It's all these problems that your questions have allowed them to see they have that they didn't really understand or feel that they had, but your problems brought that to their attention. Your questions brought that to their mind, and now they see the consequences if they don't do anything. But if you don't know how to ask those questions, if you just ask surface level questions like consultative questions that you can read in any sales book, there's not a big of a gap in their mind. And so now that problem doesn't look that big. And your price point looks really big, the problem not so big. And that's where you get, this is too expensive. We're going to look around at your competition. Your price is too high. But if you're able to establish that gap in their mind by learning NPQ and asking those questions that go far deeper underneath the surface, that get them emotionally involved in wanting to solve their problem, not you involved, but them wanting to solve it with you. There's so much of a gap in their mind. They feel so much urgency that they feel they have to do something to get where they want. And they do that with you. Now, when they feel that way, the only objection you might get is like, I know this is what I need. I just don't know how I'm going to get the money.
Right.
Now, that's what you want compared to this is too expensive, or I'm going to look around at your competitors. Because that means you didn't help build enough pain or need in their mind by your questions that allows them to see that. So every once in a while, you still are going to get some people that say like, oh man, I really want to do this, but we don't have enough money. And you say what?
Well, I just follow what Jerry teaches.
Sure.
You know, tell me like if you did have the funding, like would this possibly work for you?
And they say what?
And they're like, I mean, yeah. And then I just ask them why.
They're going to say yeah. They're going to be like, yeah, it would. I just don't have the money, right? So tell me this, Amy. Like, if you did have the funding, is this something that would work for you? No one will say, nope, it wouldn't. It would not work for me. They don't say that at that point, because at that point, you've taken them through the engagement stage. You've helped them build this need and this pain by your questions and going under the surface and what their problems are and the root cause of the problem and how the problems are affecting them, that by the end, they're already sold themselves. Like they're in. Now they're thinking like, where can I get the money for this? How do I do this? You want them to say, where can I get the money? how can I do this? You don't want them to think this is too expensive, I'm going to shop around, because then you're commoditized, then you're dead.
Right.
Okay. So then they say, well, yeah, and then so when they say, yeah, it is, you say what?
I'd ask them, well, why do you feel like it is though?
And why do we want to ask them that NPQ probing question there?
Because you want them to get to like tell themselves more and why this exactly would work for them and how to solve their problems.
Yeah, because if they tell themselves, not only are they telling you why they feel it's what they're looking for, but if they tell themselves why it's what they're looking for, do you think at that point that's more persuasive than you telling them it's what they're looking for?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, of course. If you tell them it's going to go in one ear out the other, if they tell themselves from your questions, it's the gospel. It's right. It's their idea. Now, they're still going to come back and say, well, yeah, it's what I'm looking for because of this. It's going to help me with this. But man, I just don't know where I can get this 13,000 or whatever your price point is, this 9 or 13,000. And you ask what?
Then we just like collaborate together. So I just say, okay, so I can appreciate that money might be an issue from what you told me. Like, how do you think you can resolve that to like where you can find the funding to get the training and coaching to, solve XYZ problem and get you to, 300K in the next 12 months?
Did you notice what Tyshawn just did? And I'm going to repeat what he just did a second for you and kind of break down it. Said he tied in where how do they think they can overcome that themselves. So he's being collaborative. He's not being adversarial. Like, well, can't you just put it on a credit card? Can't you just go borrow the money and like start arguing with it? No, that's not going to work. Okay. Mm-hmm. It's going to create resistance, but he's being collaborative. He's saying, okay, I can appreciate that money might be an issue. So he's acknowledging that empathy. Okay. How do you think you can resolve that where you can find the funding to put into this real estate training to make sure you can get out of your job and start making more money for you and your family? Notice how that was what they want. They wanted to get into real estate so they could make more money to start their own business, to leave their job and have more time with their family. Let's say if that's what their problems were, okay, that they mentioned to you in that conversation. Now, notice what Tyshawn did. He's asking them how they see themselves finding the funding. He's not telling them where to get it. He's asking them how they see themselves where they're going to find the funding so that they can, and it repeats back what they said they wanted. Now, notice what he did. We've taught him to tie in the funding to what? Getting what they wanted. Mm-hmm. If they can get the funding, they get what they want. If they can't get the funding, they don't get what they want. Do you think that internally motivates somebody to go out and try to find the funding to get what they want rather than you telling them where to get the funding?
Like, people don't like to be told. So like if they come up with the idea themselves, like people after that question, people always say, well, maybe I could, like, I know my mother's, like my aunt could like probably fund it. I could probably go get a loan. They just come up with suggestions themselves.
Yes. Now, if they don't, because you still have some people that won't, you then say, well, Jeremy, I really like this. I don't know. My credit's not good. I don't know where I could get it. I can appreciate that. I guess if you thought about it, besides your credit not being good, what other avenues do you have to find funding so that you can get the training to get involved in real estate so you can have more time with your family? And I'm going to repeat back the second thing they said they wanted, which was more time with their family. So I'm giving them another opportunity. If they, a lot of times they're like, well, I could get my 401k, or maybe I could put it on credit cards, that maybe have a payment plan. They'll come up with ideas. If they still can't come up with ideas, what do?
Then you can make suggestions at that point.
Yeah, you're exactly right. You just say, can I make a suggestion? Okay. What other, and I don't know if this would help you, but what other clients of ours do if they don't have the funding themselves is they'll go out, they'll get a loan through their bank, their lending institution. In fact, we have access to a lot of lenders that will loan capital to the member to fund their business. I think for the $13,000 program, you have to have a credit score of 650 or above, or a cosigner or family member that does. You'll have other people that use credit cards, and we keep them on a budget. And as they make profits with us, because we help them get profitable in the first 45 days, we'll keep them on a budget where they hold back a certain percentage of that profit to start paying down the funding quickly so they avoid interest. You have others that we use like a 401k or some type of retirement account. What of those avenues do you have? Mm-hmm. Okay, now if they still can't come up with avenues out of that, then you can make other suggestions that are even more rounded. But we're giving them like 4 or 5 times to try to get that funding in their mind. Right. And what have you found? Like, have you found that people, when they come up with those avenues themselves, even if it takes them a couple weeks, Have you found people come back to you in a couple of weeks and be like, oh, I've got my funding finally. I got it from my 401k. What have you found?
Yeah, that's awesome. Hey, Tyshawn. And it's not like, because before, like, if they would say like, oh, maybe I'll go get a loan, like when I'm putting that pressure, like they're probably just getting off the phone like, okay, I'm not signing up for this. But like this, like they're invested. They came up with the ideas themselves. So they'll be texting me back and forth like, hey, Tyshawn, I went and applied for this. They would just like, it's very open communication. I know what's going on instead of like me hoping that maybe they'll enroll in 2 weeks.
Yeah. So they're still working with you, like getting back to you every other day. Like, okay, I just applied for the loan. They said it's going to be 3 or 4 more days. So they're involved internally with you, collaborating with you to make sure they get the funding and following through. Now, before, when you use traditional selling techniques, you try to push, how many people came back to you 2 or 3 weeks later with the funding?
I don't know, like 1 out of 100. It was pretty bad. Like my follow-up, my pipeline was trash back then.
Yeah.
Like now, like all the time, like every single week at the beginning of the week, I'm starting off with at least like $30,000 in collections, just because of like payment plans, plus like people messaging me saying like, hey, I finally got the funds, I'm ready to sign up.
Yeah. Do you see the difference in income you can make once you learn the right skills that work with human behavior that get your prospects to pull you in rather than you trying to push them in? And it doesn't matter if you're selling B2C, high ticket, door to door, B2B, more complex selling environment. It doesn't matter. It's human behavior. Tyshawn, I just wanted to congratulate you first and foremost, because I love, we have all sorts of clients. We have clients that we have a 16-year-old that's enrolled in our training program that's making 15 grand a month in commissions right now. He's 16. He still lives at home. We had to get his parents permission to even enroll in the training. Okay.
That'd be awesome.
We have people all the way up in their 70s that are still in sales, going through the training, that are crushing it, making multiple 6 figures or more a year. So it doesn't matter your age. It doesn't matter your industry. It doesn't matter your product or service. We train hundreds of industries at this point. Tyshawn, any last words of advice you have for anybody listening right now, or anybody that might listen to the replay here in a bit?
I guess words of advice is like, if you want to increase your income, just focus on APQ. Like, just shut everything else out, put blinders on, and just focus on actually helping people. Yeah.
Well, it's true. We teach you the right skills that help position you with your prospects as more of a problem finder and a problem solver rather than a product pusher, which is how most salespeople are trained, right? So what do I mean by problem finding? Here's what you have to understand, everybody. Realize that most of your prospects, when you first talk to them, even if they book on your calendar, if it's a cold call for sure, or an appointment or whatever, it doesn't matter. Inbound leads, outbound leads, cold calling, door to door, doesn't matter. It's all the same. Most of your prospects, when you first talk to them, do not realize they even have a problem. Or maybe they understand they have a problem, but they don't know really how bad the problem really is. Or maybe through your questioning ability that we train you on, you're able to help them uncover 2 or 3 or 4 other problems on top of the problem they thought they had, which makes you look like, wow, you're like an expert helping them find all these problems. And when you're able to do that, and you're able to help them see what the consequences are if they don't do anything about solving the problem, then they are automatically in. Because they realize that it's far more riskier for them to do nothing and stay in the status quo and not get money for what you're offering. It's far more riskier for them to stay and have this problem not being solved than it is to go out and find the money or the funding for your solution to actually get them where they want to be and solve the problem. Far more riskier to do nothing at all, right? Stay in the status quo. So, man, I'm looking forward to, dude, you're a savage. We're about to turn you into a legend. In sales. And dude, you're so young. You're still in your late 20s here. I would say in a year from now, you'll probably doubled your income and your sales from where you're at right now. And you're already on pace to make 300,000 in commissions this year.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Congratulations. I don't know many 20-some-year-olds, unless they're in our training program.
Right, exactly.
300,000, 350,000 plus a year or more, and they're still in their 20s. So you're only going to get better as you stay in Inner Circle longer and longer. You're just going to learn more. So everybody, thanks for being on here. We hoped what we went over with you and with Tyshawn helped you with overcoming some of those objections. If you want to know more details about how we can help you sell a lot more of your products and services as well, like we've helped Tyshawn and thousands of other clients. We have almost 3,000 testimonials now in the first 2 years. Well, I see too many testimonials. I get bored now. I'm like, oh, that's a boring one. He's only doubled his income. Like, why didn't he triple it? What happened? She only increased her sales by 60% in the first 2 weeks. That's horrible. But anyway, so if you want to know more details about how we can help you become one of those testimonials, if that's what you want, because you of course don't have to sell more. You can always stay in the status quo. I'm always sarcastic, my mom says. In the comment section, post hashtag NEPQ, and either myself or someone on our team will message you more details on training options to see if we can help you as well. Tyshawn, you're the man. You're the myth, the man, the legend. You're a savage. We're gonna teach you to be a legend one of these days.
Yeah, looking forward to it, man.
Okay, my man. Talk to you soon. Thanks, everybody, for having us on. It was awesome.
Bye now.